Now, for more on Nigeria's economy, I'm joined by Joseph Wambia, Chief Investment Officer of Wambia Capital Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Now, in spite of the level of some momentum that we've seen in Nigeria's economy, it's still shrunk for the first time in 25 years. How bad is this?
Well, it's not as bad as it looks because it grew by 0.8% this last year and is projected to grow by 1.9%. So the shrinkage of last year has, basically the economy is now recovering. And that's good news for Nigeria and for the rest of Africa as well.
Now, we're 2 years into President Buhari's administration, the halfway point.
Right.
How has he lived up to his campaign promises regarding what he would do for the economy?
Well, I think he has actually done very well for the economy, despite having real challenges. First of all, of course, he needs to be credited for releasing the Chibok girls. That is a very, very, very big deal, which has clearly improved the morale and all that, with all that comes with it, along with it. The economy itself has sputtered in terms of growth, but I think it will generally improve in the next few years. I'm sure we can talk more about that if you're interested.
Now, as you mentioned, the government has really introduced all sorts of reforms,
right.
Monetary policy, fiscal policy. Give us some examples of what they're doing right to really steer the country out of recession.
Well, definitely one of the things they're doing right is making sure that the economy is less dependent on oil and oil exports in particular. It is very, very important for Nigeria's economy to diversify, and they're doing some really good work in that area. Agricultural diversification is proceeding a bit slower than expected and than one would have hoped for, but definitely making some good progress in that area. And I would expect that maybe next year's growth of 1.9 GDP would be based largely on agriculture as well. And if I could just point out, one of my hobby horses is to make sure that smallholder agriculture is the one that is growing and not large-scale mechanized agriculture. There's a tendency for people to think that you can grow the economy and create employment by having large-scale agriculture, commercial agriculture. I think that would be a mistake. They're trying to mechanize, and I think they should mechanize, but they should be very careful about how they mechanize to make sure that smallholder farmers are the ones who gain primarily, and they're not displaced by large-scale farmers.
Now, let's look at some of the momentum that we're seeing in the economy. The Minister of Budget has been continually saying that, Nigeria is about to turn the corner. We know that the IMF does seem to be cautiously optimistic as well.
Yes.
What do you think could potentially make or break, though, this recovery?
Well, the recovery will definitely benefit from a rise in oil prices. It's still an oil-dependent economy. Recovery would also be assisted significantly by having diversification, not only into agriculture, but into small business, manufacturing as well, but of the type that employs more people and not the type that displaces, farmers in particular need to be able to gain employment. And that would be the main thing that I would emphasize.
Now, in terms of oil prices, we know that OPEC is still having its production cuts. Some say they don't go deep enough.
Right.
Could Nigeria's economy be in jeopardy?
Yes. If the production cuts are not deep enough, of course, that would flood the oil market and it would affect Nigeria's growth. Hopefully, there should be a way to diversify from oil production and into manufacturing. And my main hope would be that manufacturing benefits a large number of the young people who are unemployed, because the population of Nigeria is growing more than the availability of jobs. And one way to create jobs for young people clearly is to in ICT and also in smallholder manufacturing and creating businesses that can actually be managed and run by young people.
Right.
I happen to be from Kenya, and one of the key employment opportunities in Kenya is small business being created by young people in ICT, and it's just amazing how that is happening. Nigeria has a vast untapped potential in this area, and that will be something that Nigeria can do even better than Kenya. As a Kenyan, I would say that as well.
And just quickly, we know that Nigeria outlined its economic and growth plan in April.
Right.
Does it go far enough, do you really think, to really spearhead the economy?
I believe that it does. I mean, Nigeria is a large economy, and you have to look at it and see that, in terms of what can be achieved. First of all, Lagos is booming, and the banking sector is booming. The IMF has been working very hard in Nigeria to introduce regulations that would strengthen the banking sector in the banking sector. So I believe that while the outlook right now is a little bit dim, I'm very optimistic. And looking at 2018, growth of 1.9% is not bad.
Right.
In Kenya, we're doing 5-point-something%, so it's higher. But we're a much smaller economy than Nigeria.
So perhaps a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we'll have to leave it there. Joseph Wambia, Chief Investment Officer of Wambia Capital Group.
It's been a real